This video is brought to you by Morning Brew. This is the iPad mini 6. It's a bit like a Swiss Army knife. You can't really use it to cut a slice of bread properly, but you can cut a branch. You can't really cut a piece of paper in a straight line, but you can clip your nails on the go and also open a bottle of wine. It's an oddly satisfying device that fills a weirdly necessary range of niche needs that you don't expect to even have. Upon getting it, the immediate reaction resembled my cuteness overload when I first bought the iPhone mini. I didn't want to let it go and I just wanted to fidget with it all the time. The tablet is so compact, thin and lightweight that it easily balanced out my additional weight of now carrying a 16-inch laptop. At just 293 grams, I toss it in a bag and I can easily forget that it's there. The more I use it, the more I find new use cases for this little device, like catching up on what's happening in the world in the mornings. While sipping my espresso, I skim through the most critical aspects of the news thanks to Morning Brew. Morning Brew is a daily email newsletter, in fact, the only news newsletter that I'm currently subscribed to that gives me all the essentials, from the stock market recap to a few briefs on the essential business news and a section with lifestyle content. It's a lot of fun too, providing witty information like the fact that the bucket list term did not exist until the release of the 2007 film The Bucket List. This term turned out to be an example of the Mandela effect. You can Google that if you want. Morning Brew is the perfect mix of humorous, relevant, and informative Wall Street essentials and tech news that I care about. And by the way, is absolutely free. I'll make sure to leave a link to it first thing in the description below so you can sign up as well. See, the iPad mini is sneakingly creating new routines, which I believe is its specialty. No wonder Apple kept marketing it on the dashboard of a fighter jet or a helicopter. So let's first talk about what the tablet can't do. For starters, the iPad mini lacks ProMotion. If you don't know what ProMotion is, and are not coming from a Pro iPad, you won't honestly care about it. But since I have a Pro tablet, however, I can easily acknowledge the lower refresh rate on the Mini, but as with the iPhone, it's something that I quickly forget about. What I can't seem to forget about and miss like crazy is Face ID. I find Face ID extraordinarily convenient, and the Mini coming with Touch ID speaks something of the past. Don't get me wrong, for many it will be totally fine, but it takes me a lot longer to access the tablet, and on many occasions I have to repeat my unlocking attempts. Same goes for my favorite Face ID application, logging into websites. Also, I'm used to flipping open the first portion of the folio to glance at the clock, and with Touch ID's usage hint, I keep being reminded of the existence of the fingerprint reader without being able to glance at my time. Going back to the display for a second, there's this complaint of the jelly scroll effect that I read about online, and if it weren't for my friend Dimitri to point it out, I wouldn't have noticed it at all. It is there, but after a few tests, this issue appears only on specific applications, but I wouldn't call it a concern at this point. The scaling of certain UI elements and apps on the smaller screen seems to be more of an in-the-face concern at first. Unlike the larger tablet and the standard perfectly proportioned elements of iPad OS, the Mini stands out as the odd one, where some things might look too tiny on occasions. This inconsistency could mainly be noticed on widgets and some two-column apps, especially when using the tablet in vertical mode. iMessage, for example, in vertical orientation seems weird with the evenly spaced out columns. It would have been better if I had the chance to rearrange the column positions and maybe shrink the recipients just like on the Mac, but that's not an option. An inconspicuous concern that people might not know is that the Mini caps at 256 GB of storage capacity. I'm not particularly concerned myself since I am a streamer and seldom keep offline content, but just like the iPad Air, the Mini can offer more in terms of internal storage, so keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind that if you end up enjoying this video, you might consider subscribing because why not? This being a very compact tablet, one might conclude that it's not a device for artistry and professionals who require a larger canvas. It's half the size or even less of the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, just as tall to accommodate the Apple Pencil on the side. I find quite the opposite application, however, and I've never been as artistically inclined with another iPad before, but I'll tell you more in a second. As I mentioned earlier, the iPad mini does not have official support for an external keyboard. Despite finding some keyboard solutions out there, I can't really recommend any of them, nor proclaim this void filled. But I'll use the opportunity to move over to all the specialness of the iPad mini by saying that when used vertically, thumb writing on the little guy has never felt better. I'd say that this is the best sized device to unleash your thumbnail mastery to its fullest. I could quickly write an entire script on the mini thanks to predictive writing and the perfectly positioned thumbs and spaced out buttons. Most of this script was in fact written on it, and I never felt discomfort thumb writing on it for even more extended sessions. The tablet's weight is another specialness, since my hands don't get fatigued no matter what position or how long I use the tablet. Even with the Smart Folio, this is still a featherweight device that I can even use one-handed. It's a bit like the Samsung Galaxy Fold unfolded. Suppose I'm using the iPhone 13 mini for most of my mobile needs, the iPad mini 6 steps in graciously, just like opening the Galaxy Fold into a tablet mode. The 8.3 inches display is ideal for reading a book, browsing the web, and even drawing on it. In fact, my latest 2 wallpaper packs were created on the mini in the middle of the night. That's my new favorite way to end the day, by the way. When I put my son to sleep, I play a podcast and I start drawing and working on another wallpaper idea. The tablet is not too big to hold. For abstract sketches and fun experiments, I find it ideal for getting lost in my thoughts. Very therapeutic, unlike the iPad Pro where I have to sit and draw at a desk or a table intentionally. The iPad mini comes as the casual jotting and sketching device for everything the mind requires. I've used most of the Apple Pencil with the iPad mini, and I'm not exaggerating. I find most joy using the mini in the mornings as well. It brings nostalgia vibes of the old newspaper days for some reason, and I enjoy morning coffee while going through the news, like I mentioned, and doing some social media before I start my day. I'm not intimidated by the size of the tablet, and I prefer to put my phone on the side while sipping a cup of joe. Organizing my ideas and tasks for the day is bliss. In terms of power, the mini packs a punch with its A15 Bionic chip to the point that you won't feel like you're making a compromise. I stopped looking at benchmarks for Apple Silicon devices a while ago, but I can tell you that the iPad is plenty powerful to run everything from the App Store roster confidently. I recently decided to give Genshin Impact a try, the most taxing graphics game on the iPad OS, despite Tom's advice to not get into the rabbit hole of this Zelda-like game. There is something magical about enjoying such exquisite graphics on such a small footprint. Gaming on the iPad mini reminds me of the Nintendo Switch, but better. The larger the Nintendo Switch, brighter screen allows for plenty of distracting moments. The iPad mini turned out to be my go-to meetings device as well. The improved front-facing camera with center stage is ideal for the occasional FaceTime family moments and even for work-related meetings propped right next to my computer. Unlike other iPads, the back camera can also find better use since it doesn't feel like you're taking a photo with a brick. It's also great when using AR and perhaps jot down notes and ideas for some home improvement projects. I recently posted on Twitter that the Mini provided the cutest Finder window experience when I first extended it as a secondary Mac monitor via Sidecar. It comes in handy to throw in some Mac windows while working and even use it as a reference monitor for some projects since it has full white color P3 support. Also, the Mini comes with stereo speakers that are plenty loud for the occasional TV show or movie streaming, although I prefer to use it paired with my AirPods 3. If I have to compare the sound that it produces, it is around 30 to 50% louder than my iPhone and nowhere near as punchy as the Pro tablet, but just as useful. The Mini comes with 5G support and its unique compactness opens a vast range of applications. It takes less space than most things that I carry around with and it neatly fits even in my compact sling. I've been resisting the urge to purchase the Mini since I own the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. My thinking was, why would I need a watered-down version of a tablet that doesn't have support for external keyboard, has a lesser display, and is less powerful? As time went by, I kept seeing more and more people featuring the Mini in their day-to-day lives, and in the meantime, I kept using the iPad Pro less and less. Aside from using it as a secondary sidecar display, I didn't use it for writing that much because I enjoy writing on my MacBook. In bed or when taking a break, I found the big tablet being, well, too big. So I always resorted to my iPhone. So I caved, and my remorse before unboxing it evaporated immediately after I started using it. The way I see it, the Mini is the note-taking king, and it's the beacon for portable productivity. It's not an unfolded version of something, but rather a dedicated mobile device that easily coexists with my everyday carry, and that's what makes it unique. At $650, it's not a $1,500 device that you'll be afraid to hold, break, bend, or damage the screen of. Sure, it's not the best tablet in most aspects and features, but it's the best in terms of providing you with creative and portable freedom like no other tablet on the market. I haven't used my 12.9-inch iPad Pro ever since I got the Mini, and I wonder if I'll end up missing the larger tablet, or maybe I'll be just saying goodbye to it soon. I don't know, we'll see. You can check out my iPad Pro review here, by the way, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below or ping me on Twitter. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. This is E, over and out.